Hi, this is Sunil from Fonearena, and today we are reviewing the 2014 edition of Motorola Moto G. Motorola, a Google-owned company back then, came out with a mission to educate consumers that affordability doesn't mean creepy functionality. The first generation Moto G carried a price tag that attracted a lot of audience with its features stretching beyond what was on offer in the market. The 2013 edition of Moto G ticked more boxes than what consumers expected, and for the first time, users got more than what their money deserved. Today, Moto G has a successor with improved hardware specifications, and 10 months later, has Motorola done it right? Well, we have set out to find out the answer. For starters, you are going to have hard time distinguishing between the previous generation Moto G and the new Moto G. Except for the size, the design language remains largely similar. Heck, the naming scheme isn't that different either. Having said that, the styling of the new Moto G is quite impressive, but we don't think it's going to be a show-off element. Just like the original model, the 2014 edition also comes with clean and efficient structure, which is very simple. The new Moto G sports two different kinds of plastic, and we like the quality of it. Considering its price tag, its build is par for the course. If the same device would have hit the market 2 months ago, the overall structure could have gained a lot more appreciation, but since the introduction of the Xiaomi Redmi 1S and Asus Zenfone 5 in the mid-range segment, the bars are now set very high. On the front of the new Moto G, you get to see the earpiece, which also doubles up as a speaker, the front-facing camera, ambient light and proximity sensors. The presence of the stereo speakers above and below the display is one of the significant additions from the previous model. The new Moto G comes with Corning Gorilla Glass 3, which is not only scratch-proof but also shutter-resistant. The controls are all integrated to the actual screen. The left side of the smartphone is completely bare, just like its predecessor. On the right, we see the power key and the volume rockers. The micro USB port is located at the bottom of the device, and the good news is that it supports USB host, which means that you can connect accessories like keyboards, USB sticks and even a mice. Moving to the top of the smartphone, we locate the 3.5mm audio jack placed bang in the middle, and next to it is a noise cancelling microphone pinhole. Back of the new Moto G houses the 8 megapixel sensor with LED flash, and the Motorola logo is right below it. Opening the back panel is a bit difficult as you need to push your finger in the USB slot and pull it with considerable amount of force before it pops out. Underneath the cover, there's a dual micro SIM slots and the welcome addition, the SD card slot. The battery is non-removable and there's no way to access it. Motorola's success with the original Moto G depended a lot on its 720p display, which was one of the finest in the crowded mid-range segment. The new model features a stretched out 5-inch panel with a pixel density of 294 ppi, which is not as sharp as the one on the Moto G 2013 edition. However, the impressive contrast levels and the color rendering more than makes up for the loss of pixel count. The viewing angles are far better, with the text remaining legible even at extreme angles. We are happy that the front panel is not that reflective, which means that you will not have to find a shelter to view it. Motorola's newest mid-range smartphone comes out of the box with Android 4.4.4 KitKat, and guess what? It's in line to get the latest Android OS L whenever it becomes available. The user interface is nothing but stock Android, and we are happy that the device doesn't come with any customized UI on top. The reason for liking stock Android is very simple. It is more fluid and has less strain on the hardware. Motorola has included some of its own applications like the Assist app, Alert and Motorola Migrate. As we said before, the stock Android doesn't have much strain on the chipset, and hence we didn't find any lag during the day-to-day usage. It's not slower than any of its competition, and overall it offers great experience. The new Moto G comes with a Snapdragon 400 chipset with quad-core 1.2 GHz CPU, Adreno 305 GPU and 1 GB of RAM. which is essentially the same hardware that was powering the previous generation Moto G smartphone. We have already benchmarked the Motorola Moto G 2014 and the link to the video can be found in the description below. The all-new Motorola Moto G comes with an 8 megapixel sensor, which is an upgrade over the 5 megapixel unit from the previous model. The camera doesn't come with many of the bells and whistles that are found on the flagship offerings out there. The user interface on the camera is very minimalistic and includes just two buttons, one for the video recording and the other for the front-facing camera. All you need to do to capture an image is just tap on the screen. You can access the setting by swiping from left of the screen to the right. It opens up a wheel with options such as HDR, flash, touch focus, panorama, among other toggles. You can shoot without HDR enabled, but more often than not, you usually end up with low contrast images without much detail. The good news, however, is the colors are accurate and the noise is very less as compared to the images shot with its competition. If you shoot with HDR turned on, you get better quality images with the extended dynamic range and the improved contrast ratio. With HDR, there are some drawbacks as the colors are overblown and the images tend to miss the natural element. Finally, it all boils down to the personal choice as to what type of images you prefer, as both have their deficiencies. The first generation Motorola Moto G was called Poor Man's Nexus, but can the new model live up to those expectations? Well, we don't think the smartphone has enough to retain that title. Don't get us wrong, the device isn't cheap, and as a matter of fact, for what it has on offer, it's quite good. But the likes of Xiaomi and Asus have set the bar quite high, and we think the new Moto G is just not there. Why did Motorola decide not to change the internals is something that's beyond us. The performance of the device is not any different from its predecessor, and in fact, it seems like a downgrade in some aspects like the browsing. Performance apart, the upgrade in the display, camera, and most importantly, the memory is something which Motorola has got it right. Considering the overall performance, the OS updates, the screen, the camera, the ability to expand memory, and all other factors, is it worth calling it an upgrade? Well, we really don't think so.